Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bravo Papers. We have a special bonus episode this week. Sorry, I stumbled there. Special bonus episode of the Vanderpump Rules after show. And I'm going to be going over episodes 10 and 11 today. I am so sorry that I couldn't put out episode 10 last week. It was partly because I just had an insanely busy week, a lot of things going on personal. And on top of that, I'm going to be honest with you, episode 10 after show was kind of not great. Like there just wasn't a lot of content or even things that were of interest to speak about. However, the episode 11 after show, I thought had some better nuggets. But you know, I combined the two. Okay, so we have kind of like a supersized episode. I know I've done that before, like put two together, I think. I'll try not to do it too often, but sometimes I just don't have the time to record the extra episode every week, and it's just been crazy. Okay, so let's get into it. The last couple episodes of Vanderpump Rules have been kind of infuriating. Let's all be honest right now. So let's get into it because the after show is sometimes equally infuriating. Okay, we got to talk about the dog, of course, because on episode 10, that was a big thing. And we kind of get like some insights from the cast on this in the after show. So Sheena and Kristen both basically say Tom left the door open when he shouldn't have. Like he should have just been more careful. Kristen says it's not because he was malicious, like that he was like trying to hurt the dog. Kristen says he's just a dumbass and he does stuff like that because he doesn't think about anyone but himself. So, you know, she's like, he's just always thinking of himself. So he wouldn't think of, oh, maybe I should close this door because the dog might get in and whatever. She says, you know, it's not like he's deliberately trying to hurt Maya, but he also wouldn't think of Maya, which is like, I could kind of see that because it sounds like it was Sandoval's laxatives that he ate. Okay, anyways, but again, she says it wasn't on purpose, which I believe. I really think that that is the story, is that him or Anne, I guess, meant to close the door and they didn't. And that it was just kind of careless. And it was also maybe careless of Ariana to leave the chicken saute on her bedside table. Listen, we all have moments of carelessness. People are really trying to make this out like, you know, Ariana leaving that on her bedside table means she's the devil. And Sandoval leaving the door open means he's the devil. Sandoval is the devil, but that's for other reasons, not this. Those are just things that every human has done, okay, once or twice in their life. And yes, we need to be more careful. And no, we shouldn't do that. But again, people shouldn't do a lot of things. Accidents happen. That's why we're humans. So listen, maybe she woke up that morning. Maybe she had her chicken satay leftovers, fell asleep because she was so exhausted, was like, I'll throw them, whatever. Woke up next morning, was like, oh shoot, my alarm just went off and I'm in a rush. Rushed out the door, forgot to throw them out. Listen, that can happen, okay? Maybe Sandoval was like, had the air conditioner guy, everything was chaos and forgot about closing the door. Again, these are all like just kind of human things. And to me, the debate over them is sort of irrelevant at this point, okay? I get that, you know, people want to debate about it because Ariana is calling Tom a dog murderer and she's mad at him, but she's just mad at him because of the bigger thing. It's like when, you know, somebody you dislike is around, like everything they do annoys you, right? There's a saying for it, bitch eating crackers, right? It's just because, like, if you don't know what that is, go look it up. It's funny. But that's just because, you know, when you don't like someone, you're going to flip out on everything they do. And quite frankly, Good, because Sandoval's annoying and he never has said sorry for cheating. So yeah, let's yell at him about everything, because why not? Like if my ex did that to me and I would be blaming him for everything. It'd be raining outside. Why are you making it rain? You know, I'd get a flat tire. It's his fault. I have a hangnail. It's his fault. Like, why not? Okay. So Sandoval says it was him or Anne who left the door open. He says if it was Anne, Ariana wouldn't be saying the dog murder thing. Yeah, duh. Of course she wouldn't. Again, it's because she's annoyed with you. You're her bitch eating crackers and you're terrible. Okay. Schwartz is like, it's just because she hates you so much, man. Wow. Thank you, Schwartz, for that insight that is just none of us could have figured out without you. He should be a therapist. Okay. Sandoval goes on a rant slash tirade about all the things that Maya eats. So this is the part where I start to get annoyed though with Sandoval actually about the dog thing, because he's such a victim blamer and he's always been like this. And he even does it with dogs. Like he tried to blame Ariana for getting cheated on. Well, she deserves to get cheated on because she doesn't buy pens and batteries. She doesn't stock the toilet paper. She also deserved to get cheated on because like she doesn't compliment me enough. And, you know, Maya is an idiot that eats everything. Like that's basically what he says here. He's like, Maya eats everything. He's like, she even like one time she ate paintballs. Like they taste like soap. And then he goes, so what? I can't even leave soap on the floor. That's what he says. I was like, no, this is not, you're not blaming the dog. The dog is gonna dog. Okay. It's like when like people get mad at like the bear for eating a person in the wild or something. Okay. It's like the bear's gonna bear. Okay. Ariana says he's been consistently negligent with things such as leaving doors open and also invaded her privacy because he shouldn't have gone in her bedroom in the first place. Again, yes, that is true. He shouldn't have gone in without, he should have texted her first for permission. Who knows? Maybe if he had, she would have texted back reminding him, hey, don't forget, close that door, or would have texted Anne that. Yes, again, there was a lot of things that could have been done by both parties to avoid this accident. You know, Lala says Ariana wants to blame Sandoval, and yes, he shouldn't have been in the room, but she should also be clean and grown person who knows how to put things in the trash. I guarantee you Lala's not put things in the trash before and has had her moments. I guarantee you. Okay? Again, we all have. And yes, there might be certain people out there who are like psychotically clean and OCD who never have, but again, the majority of people have left something, maybe not food, but have left something. And dogs can get into things and kids get into things that aren't food too. So it's just accidents happen. It's funny though, because Lala's like, Ariana wants to blame Sandoval, but then Lala blames Ariana, which is also not, you know, I don't think it's 100% her either. Jack says before he had a kid, he used to leave shit everywhere. Well, there you go. A lot of people do, to be honest. I mean, and when you have a kid, you do get better at that. And a lot of people, when you have pets, they get better at that. But again, we still all have our moments where we just kind of like, you know, you're really good about it. And then you let things slip because you're having a crazy week or a crazy day or you didn't sleep well or whatever. Okay. Kristen says, you know, do not leave food out, obviously, but sometimes people forget. And Kristen's like, she did close the door for that reason. Okay. Sheena says Tom should have messaged Ariana and never should have entered her room without permission. Okay. We see Sheena kind of taking Ariana's side a little bit more lately. Basically, most of them agree, like of the cast members overall, that it wasn't anyone particular's fault, except Lala, who seems to lean more towards it being Ariana's fault. Okay, then we go on to Katie and Max. So Schwartz says he wouldn't be mad, you know, even if she hooked up with Max 2 weeks after their divorce, which I'm not sure I believe. Jax calls BS on this, which I thanked him for in that case, and says it would be a little weird. But then he's like, well, maybe not in our group, because our group is like, you know, we're like crazy. And Schwartz is like, yeah, our group is like desensitized. I'm like, yeah, your group is desensitized because of you three men sitting right there, by the way. Sandoval says that Sandoval's like, I would feel weird if you hooked up with Ariana, and I would like never hook up with Katie, which I think is funny for him to say that, considering that James was one of his closest friends and he did hook up with Rachel. So, and also just Sandoval trying to have any sort of standards of decency. Like, get out of here. Schwartz says Katie, he's like, Katie went scorched earth, though. I'm like, listen, she was mad and she's like, I'll light you both on fire or whatever. But besides that, I mean, yeah, she was mad and she used her words. I wouldn't say she like went scorched earth. It's not like she like keyed your car or something. Um, Katie says it would have been nice, but Tom didn't respect it. Like it would have been nice, sorry, if they could have maintained that sort of like friend group agreement that they originally had. But as we all know, Schwartz didn't respect it. So she's like, I'm going to take a walk in his shoes, which again, he burnt the agreement. So when he kissed Rachel, so it's fair game after that. Katie says, she didn't plan on hooking up with Max as like a revenge bang, but it was just divine timing is what she says, which I thought was really funny. So it was just, she's like, two birds with one stone, but it wasn't like she planned it out. Which I do believe, because then Sheena and Kristen are like, it seems like Katie and Max kind of had like a thing for each other for a while. And Sheena's like, I saw how they looked at each other, when we were in like mutual groups hanging out or whatever. Kristen's like, well, me and Sheena had both hooked up with Max. So, Katie was probably like, okay, it must be good. Let me try. So I guess Max gets around. I mean, there must be something that keeps women coming back. I don't know. There's talk out there about him. Okay. James says he doesn't judge Katie, and good on her, because Schwartz did kiss Raquel in front of everyone, so she deserves it. And James is like cracking up laughing. He's like, Katie is cutthroat. She's legendary for doing that. Like he just like loves Katie. And he says, I love Katie. It's so crazy when you think back on how those two were once upon a time. Like they have really that is one friendship that I never saw coming. Like I thought I could understand them just being like fine, okay with each other, but I never thought I'd see this day where James is like, Katie's like legendary. Like I just never thought I'd see that. So that's crazy. Then they talk about the pizza dinner and Ariana yelling. James says he's never seen that side of Ariana. Schwartz is like, it was intense. And I saw fiery disdain in her eyes. Okay. Jack says, of course, the dog thing was an accident. So her yelling that it wasn't was, maybe out of line. And, and then Schwartz is like, well, it really wasn't about the dog, which, yes, exactly. Sorry. And I know we talked about this earlier already, but it's not at all about the dog. The dog's just like the trigger, right? And James points out, which I thought was a good example and a good point, that Tom also cheated when the whole Charlotte thing happened, right? When Charlotte died. So Ariana's going to be like extra sensitive to dog stuff, right? Because she probably associates like, oh, while Charlotte was dying and while I'm burying my dog, and I was away when she was sick and you were supposed to be giving her medicine and you were having sex with Raquel. Like, so I could see her feeling that. And Brittany reminds everyone that filming was not that far after. Right, after the breakup. I think a lot of people are forgetting that. It wasn't like it was a year later. This was just like 3 months. Um, you know, Schwartz says it's not his place to tell Ariana when she should be over it, but he was shocked at how close to the surface her feelings were. Really? You're shocked that someone is not over an affair 3 months after the breakup, or isn't over a breakup 3 months after? I mean, he still, in my opinion, has feelings for Katie. I think a lot of what he does is all because he just loves messing with Katie and getting her jealous and stuff, because he still has a thing for Katie. I really do. He should know, of all people, the hurt and the time it can take when you have been in something for a long time. Okay. It's just like, these people are so, they just pick and choose standards. And, as Candace says, the line is always moving. Sheena says Sandoval wasn't doing anything to help Ariana move past like the rage that she felt because he keeps doing things like the dog or other little things that set her back. And also, he doesn't apologize. And, but then Sheena says she does need to move past it because it's only hurting her and the people around her who want her to just be the star she is and shine as bright as she is. Which, like, I get what Sheena's saying, and that sounds nice, but you also have to, like, express and feel the rage and those symptoms before you can move past them. Like, you can't move past them if you don't get them out. So she needs to just have those moments. It's like when you have a good cry and you just have that, like, ugly cry, and then you just feel so much better after. Like, that is kind of what I think Ariana's doing. And this seems like around the right time. She's probably already done the, crying, whatever stuff already. And now she's on the anger part and she's moving past it. And listen, she did become a star and she did shine bright. So no need to worry about that, Sheena. Kristen agrees and says that when you're in Ariana's position, you're in the reptilian brain. And they go back to, okay, remember on Vanderpump Rules, I can't remember what season, but they had that person who came to talk to them about like the reptilian brain and how like when you're in that, it's hard to see anything else and you're just in that like survival mode, right? And you know what? She's right. That's exactly what it is. And Ariana's basically like they flash back to Ariana and Katie, and Ariana says, whatever. He's gonna be butthurt about me being mad about that. So yeah, I see what Ariana's saying. Like she's like, yeah, I deserve to have a moment to have a freak out because of what you did. And you have not apologized for what you did or shown really any remorse besides like fake performative stuff at the reunion. So yeah, like you don't get to be butthurt over that. She's right. And then Brock says, because we just need to have Brock's opinions, don't we? Okay. Brock says, sorry, you can tell I'm annoyed with this man. Brock says he felt the group needed to try to come together and have those conversations, but clearly it was too soon on the beach. You think? Like, okay, like I just do not get what Lala, Brock, and these other people are expecting. Even Sandoval, when he was like, I thought we could be like more civil than like Katie and Schwartz. It just shows the level of delusion that, first of all, that Sandoval has. It also shows that Sandoval didn't really give a shit about Ariana. Like, I think he fell out of love with her a while ago, but she was still in love with him, right? That's why it was so easy for him to have the affair. And that's why, like, he doesn't need any time to get over her because he's been over her for probably a long time. He was just too chicken to break up with her. And, I don't think he likes doing hard things, and breaking up with someone is a hard thing. So yeah, so I think he's just like, oh yeah, we could have been civil. Like to him, he's like ready for that phase. But like, that's not gonna happen. I think Ariana actually loved you and she is hurt. Like he just so Brock says, it wasn't his finest hour. Oh, I'm so glad you can admit that. But he says he's the type that would rather just have the conversation than sit there awkwardly. Well, I get it's easy to say that when I don't know, you flew across the world to avoid those types of conversations, I guess, with your ex. Anyways, James says Sandoval doesn't even want the dog or the cat, but he just likes to be argumentative. And he just is kind of doing it to bug Ariana. And that's exactly it. Like a lot of us, we don't like, we only, we see Tom Sandoval's confessionals and his point of view. And he tries to convince us that he really does care about keeping the cat and the dog. He doesn't. He doesn't give a shit. He's just trying to get under her skin. Him and Schwartz and Jax, they all get off on antagonizing, making these women blow up and look crazy like they love it. And Sandoval knows exactly what to do to get Ariana to freak out, make it about the pets, and there you go. She's going to lose it, and then he can be like, she's crazy. Okay? He admits that Kitty is more Ariana's because she adopted it. It was like an abandoned stray that she got in New Jersey. But then he has to add it, but she never takes care of it. Then Ariana says sarcastically, "Oh yeah, I never do anything." And that's why I was able to. And then she starts like listing all the things she does, like when getting third place on Dancing with the Stars, starring in Chicago, like just on, she goes on and on. Ariana says Sandoval would love for her to be run out of this group, out of this town, and out of having to answer for any of his faults. That is exactly right. Now, that doesn't mean I think Ariana needs to stay on this show forever, but I'm glad she at least stayed for this season because otherwise he really would have won. So it's good that she stood her ground. Same as how she stood her ground and didn't move out of the house. I still can't believe that Lala doesn't see that that was like she was standing her ground so that she could get what's hers, right? And so that we're not going to let this guy win like he always has in the past. Okay. Sandoval says they got Maya together and he's like, oh, like I would cuddle with her. I'd play hide and seek. Like he's just like starts naming like basic stuff you do with a dog. And he's like, I love Maya. Okay. Cool. Ariana, I'm sure could say the same thing. It's like, okay. Um, and then he starts going on about paying bills for the house. And he's like, oh, I guess I pay all the bills for the house. So does that mean I own the house? No, it doesn't. And no, the house is not the same as a dog. If it would mean it if you paid the entire mortgage and own the house free and clear, but you wouldn't have been able to get the house if you didn't have someone to co-sign with. Nor would you have been able to get the home equity loan that she also had to co-sign with you. And you both had to put your money in. So no, it's not the same as that, Ariana fully paid the adoption fee and owns the dog. It's not the same. Sorry. I'm sure the dog also didn't cost like, $2 million. So Sheena says Sandoval needs to just shut up about the bills and stop talking about that because it's really not helping. Yes, exactly. But again, Tom Sandoval is not trying to help things. He's trying to antagonize and poke. Okay. To make her look crazy. And he also really believes his own shit. He really does. Because he's just that narcissistic. In terms of Anne, Ariana says, she's an assistant, not a housekeeper. And, she says she has friends that are like house managers and they'll, go and like open packages and do stuff like that for her friends who have these people. But she's like, Anne is like picking up like disgusting hair that's like stuck to the sticky floor after he has a party. And that's like that kind of stuff is not normal. And Anne shouldn't have to clean all that. Tom kind of characterizes it as tidying. He's like, and then she does email scheduling. She'll call like customer service, tech support. He's like, she does not touch my dirty laundry, which I mean, she said that she does. So I don't know. I'm apt to believe Anne and not Tom, who's a known liar. Tom complains that Anne asked to work for Ariana just on like a random Monday, right? That she showed up for that interview. Ariana says Anne wanted something different. But she felt a lot of pressure because she didn't want it to seem like she was poaching Anne, but she also didn't want Anne to think that she didn't like want her. So I guess like Ariana's like, I didn't want it to do the poaching thing, but I also didn't want Anne to think like I wouldn't even consider her or that she's bad. So I wanted to give her an interview. I mean, listen, should they have maybe gone somewhere else for the interview? Yes. Not because Ariana needs to worry about offending Tom because it's her home and she can poach an assistant if she wants, but it is just awkward that Anne is like kind of I don't know, like in her place of work, sort of like on duty and also interviewing. Like that's a little off. So yeah, I mean, they probably should have just gone to a coffee shop. But anyways, Jax asks Sandoval, did Anne sign an NDA? Sandoval says yes. And Jax is like, oh, smartest thing you've ever done. And Jax is like, okay, so what can she say? And Sandoval's like, well, she should expect a letter from my lawyer. Okay, calm down. I don't think she says, like, she's not like giving away your like deep, dark secrets. Cause if she was, I would have seen them online and I haven't. Sandoval says Anne says, low key things that aren't true, like that Ariana's up early and I'm sleeping in. But before Ariana wasn't even up till like 1 p.m. and I was always up early and Anne was always annoyed that Ariana was always annoyed that Anne was over. And he's like, well, not just Anne, but like just if I had anyone over. I'm like, okay, so let's break this down. Before you cheated and Scandival happened, you got up earlier than Ariana. Probably true because Ariana didn't have anything else really going on besides Vanderpump Rules and being tied down to you. She's also gone through depression or has depression, which people who have depression sleep a lot and tend to sleep in more. And I could see, and once again, Tom Sandoval is weaponizing her mental illness and, well, not really weaponizing the mental illness, but he's just not caring about it and acting like it doesn't exist and trying to, you sort of say it's laziness, right? And that's the other thing. Like, I feel like there's a lot of that going around. People kind of like, oh, she's disgusting, she's lazy, all this stuff. Okay, maybe she's not like the most type A person, but a lot of people with depression don't always have like the will to clean up every little thing and get everything done in that moment. Okay. That's often a symptom of depression. So I do think that, and Ariana has shared her battles with depression and it's been, like thoughts of ending her life. Like it's been as serious as that. Right. And I feel like, and, Tom was happy to use suicide for his own benefit when he thought he could get the audience to feel bad for him. But then he's always willing to throw Ariana under the bus in relation to her mental health. Okay. Okay. So, and again, her being annoyed that someone was always over, I would be annoyed too. I'm sorry. I live in my home. And if there was always somebody around, yeah, sometimes you just want to go downstairs with in your pajamas with no bra on or in your underwear and do whatever you want to do and be an ugly slob for a day. And, you don't need like some person looking at you who you have to make small talk with all the time. It's annoying. I could see that. Like, and you're okay with them being there sometimes, but maybe not every day. Tom says he feels, and he uses this word, betrayed, that Anne went to ask Ariana for a job. Oh, you feel betrayed? That's interesting. It doesn't feel good to be betrayed, does it, Sandoval? I can't believe he even has the gall to like use the word betrayed. Sheena says she respects Brock's opinion about Ariana needing to be around the group, but she's like, it might just not work. And she says like Brock has to kind of accept that. And then we have Jason from the Valley who pipes in here and says, it's such a huge betrayal that Tom and Rachel had this affair. And he can understand how anyone would not be able to get over that. And he's like, Sandoval doesn't seem to care about relationships in that way. Yeah, he's right. I don't really see Tom as someone who really like values relationships. I think he sees them in terms of like how much they can benefit him, whether that's his brand, his music, his whatever. Like he doesn't seem, I don't know. It's like he can't comprehend why Ariana's having so much trouble, kind of moving on from this relationship or getting over what happened. Right. And then Janet, that's Jason's wife, says Sandoval has never shown accountability because I guess they've hung around them too. And they obviously have TVs. James and Brock both in unison say time is the only thing that could possibly make things better for this group. And it needs to be time apart, which makes sense. It does. I mean, and it could be a very long time, right? Like it may never be I mean, they might be able to be around each other, but in terms of being civil, yeah, they need time apart for a long time. And then, baby steps of just with the goal of just being civil. And that's it. And they don't ever really need to talk and like interact a lot. I just don't think that's going to do anything for them, especially right now. Okay, let's go to episode 11. So they first talk about the furniture. Okay. So as we saw on this week's episode, or we saw last week actually, sorry, but Ariana is kind of taking inventory of the furniture with Lucinda, who I guess helped them buy a lot of it or pick it out, etc. And Ariana says it is a part of the cost of the house and that he keeps saying that she doesn't pay for anything or do anything. However, after reviewing their credit card statements with Lucinda, it turns out that Ariana purchased most of the furniture in the house. Tom admits that, yeah, Ariana did buy some stuff, but I did too. So, and then again, that's fine. The problem was that you were sort of almost expecting her to abandon it. And so are other people for some weird reason. Tom says he thinks that Ariana wants to donate everything that they bought together. The producer asks if that's what the counter offer said. And then we flash to Ariana, who says, with Lucinda, basically what she was saying is that if they bought stuff together, it shouldn't stay in the house. So that doesn't necessarily mean donate, but maybe it's just like if we bought something together, let's sell it, maybe split the proceeds, and then the stuff you bought, you can keep, and the stuff I bought, I can take. Which to me, that sounds reasonable. It seems like Tom just wants everything to stay, which he wants everything to stay and he wants the house, which again, like, sorry, life is just not that fair. But he's always gotten everything kind of on a silver platter and easy in a lot of ways because he's just always been able to get away with things. He's always kind of been like the guy who's been seen as like the good guy on the show. Like he's, you know, he just has this like sense of entitlement. And Tom is like obsessed with Ariana thinking she's going to take some mirror. I guess it's like some kind of special vanity mirror they flash to it. And he's like, there's no way Ariana can take that. I bought that. He's like, Ariana wasn't even there and I love it. And he was really mad because I guess he says that Ariana says that she bought it. And then he starts listing what he bought versus what she bought. Anyways, so listen, it's kind of funny though that he said that about the mirror because Kristen, in one of her confessionals when she was talking about the dog, she's like, the only thing Sandoval pays attention to in the house is the mirror. And then it's so funny that in this part, he just cannot stop talking about how he's getting that mirror and he wants that mirror so bad. Ariana says, she's like, he literally thinks that I would just have packed up a backpack and, left and taken a little bit of cash from him. Like, she's like, that's really what he expected, which that is totally what he expected. And the most fucked up thing is that it kind of seems like that's what Lala and Sheena think she should do. And I'm like, you all are out of your minds. Um, this is a home. Okay. I don't know. Maybe because when all this was happening, they didn't own homes yet. I don't know. You do not just walk away from your home. End of story. Period. Dot. The end. Sandoval says, he thinks they'll figure it out. He doesn't want it to be hard on her. Which, okay, you've literally made it hard from the jump. Like everything he's done since this breakup has been to antagonize, to flex about what's his, to try and get her to leave, to try and like buy her out with these like vague offers that aren't even really offers. Like it's just like, no. He claims, okay, that he gave her top market value in the offer. And that if they go to court and it has to get sold, they won't get that. Which, what? I don't think that's true. I also really don't think that he gave or offered top market value. Like she says it wasn't even a real offer. They hadn't even had the house appraised. So how do you know you gave top market value if you didn't do an appraisal? It just none of this makes sense. Ariana has a best friend who's a real estate agent who says their best bet is to just sell it. And Sandoval is the one who keeps, digging his heels in about it, about keeping it. She's like, he's just like so obsessed with keeping this house. Probably because he knows like he has no chance or no shot of buying another one any other way. So I don't know. He's just kind of delusional. Like, look at how he thought him and Ariana would be more civil than Katie and Schwartz. Like, that's delusional. So Lala, then we go to the topic of Lala meeting up with Joe. Lala says that Katie has the right to feel how she wants to feel because we all do. And Lala has the right also to not care about how Katie feels, which great. Lala, that's a really easy way of always getting out of accountability for doing anything. So Lala, this is Lala's little like, she thinks we don't see what she's doing, but we see what you're doing. Okay. If you say, I have the right to not care, that's your way of just never taking accountability for doing something fucked up to someone else. Oh, you're upset about that thing that I did? Well, I have the right to also not care, just like you have the right to be upset. Like, it's just such a cop out. Like, when did Lala turn into this, like, I don't even know what to call it. But just she's the way she's arguing and like the logic she's using this season, it's very Sandoval-ish. I'm sorry, I just got to say it, but it is. And then Lala says her favorite line, she's been a dog in everyone's fight and it's never been reciprocated. So she's just going to do whatever the hell she wants. And your beef is your beef. She's still loyal, even though, she had a cheese dog with Joe. She keeps like emphasizing the cheese dog as though, like, because you got a casual meal instead of going to like a Michelin star restaurant, that it's not really a betrayal. Katie says, Lala, I guess, is being soft, but she's being soft to everyone except Katie and Ariana. And that's what's frustrating, which I 100% agree with. Like, it's like Lala actually isn't even being soft, I would argue, but she's just changing her sides. She's just shifting like alliances basically and like changing everything she stands for. That doesn't mean you're going soft. It just means you're kind of a flip flopper. Lala says, or sorry, not Lala, Katie and Ariana say it's nice that Lala wants to embrace the softer side of her. But Katie says that comes from a lot of introspection and work and not just from like one day deciding you're soft, which exactly, it's such a shallow thing. Like Lala's just like, I'm softer this season. This is my new personality. Like it's just so fake and surface level and inauthentic. Katie says she has seen Lala's softer side just in life, but she said basically exactly what I said. It's not coming across in an authentic way like it has in the past. She's like, really, she's just kind of overextending herself and seems like she's just trying to prove something, which exactly it. What she's trying to prove is that she's not jealous of Ariana and that, no, what is she trying to prove? Like, it's just, she's just trying to prove she's right all the time. Right. And even when she's getting backlash, when it's sort of like broken down why she's wrong about things, even then, like, she just can't accept it. Brittany asks if Katie has ever come to her defense. So Brittany asked this to Lala, and Lala's doesn't say no, but says it's, in a different way. So she's like, it's not that Katie's never come to my defense. She just goes about it in a different way. And Lala says, maybe it's because I'm such an intense person. And she just feels like no one in the cast has come in hard for her. Okay, so people have come in her defense, Lala says. They just haven't done it in like an aggressive enough of a way, I guess. Like kind of the message I'm getting. And Lala says she's worried about, where she's going to end up in life. So, she doesn't have time to think about Katie's beef with Joe. She doesn't care about Joe. Joe doesn't impact her life. Okay, so then why are you reaching out? If you don't have time to think about Katie's beef with Joe and the whole Joe of it all, and you don't care about Joe and Joe doesn't impact you, again, why are you going? Like, it's like Lala saying she's addressing on her podcast what the fans are saying and wants everyone to know that she doesn't care what they're saying. You clearly do because you're addressing it multiple times. Okay. All right. So then we talk about Tom and Katie and the, going after the same woman, Tori, which I don't believe this storyline. Like, to me, this is the fakest storyline, I don't know, ever. Clearly, this girl wants to be on the show. Clearly, Katie and Tom both agreed to this because it would be like a fun storyline. And really, nothing's happening this season outside of Ariana and Tom stuff. So, yeah. like, so Schwartz says it was weird. Katie says she was interested in Tori before she knew Tori had spoken to Tom. They were flirting at Sir, according to Ariana. And, Tori told Ariana that she kind of likes Katie. Also, Sheena says that Tori's had a crush on Schwartz for a while. And I guess Sheena thinks she's a bit too young, but she's like, that seems to be the direction that the Toms are going in these days, which, yep, that's true. Perfect for them. And Katie says she doesn't care what people say. And like sarcastically, she's like, everything I do revolves around Schwartz. So I think she's kind of just annoyed that people think everything she does is because of Schwartz, which I don't think that. But I mean, if you're dating the same girl as Schwartz or going after her, you got to kind of expect that people are going to say that. Schwartz says he generally doesn't know anything about her dating life, Katie's, except that she slept with Max. And he says, it wouldn't bother me if she called me and told me stuff. It's like, I don't think that's going to happen. So the last topic is Tom and Joe. Basically, James says that he feels Schwartz was just stringing Joe along, which I think everyone feels that way, including Joe. It's very obvious watching the show that that's what was going on. James says Joe was very into it and she was very like emotional at public events about their relationship. And she was like obviously more into Schwartz than he was into her. But yeah, this is what Schwartz does. Schwartz is like an A+ fuckboy. He gets lots of dates, I'm sure. He gets laid a lot. He's probably pretty successful with women because of being on this show for all these years. He was able to find girls to cheat on Katie with left, right, and center. So listen, he probably liked Joe, never wanted anything serious, but knew she did. And he strung her along. That's exactly what happened. And I guarantee you, he acted full boyfriend off camera, 100%. Brock and James say Schwartz likes to keep it confusing. They say he likes confusion. So even see, they know what he's doing too. Okay, they all know. The guys know, the girls know, they all know. Schwartz says he did like Joe, but he felt it had a shelf life. That's fine. But you got to tell her that, okay? And if you go into it knowing it's going to end and she's going into it thinking it could be something that goes on, that's not fair. Okay. That's not right to do to her. Not that I feel bad for Joe, by the way, because I don't, because she also knew what she was getting. Ariana says maybe it was like how, he kind of strung Katie along, gave her the ring on the string, but Katie says, nah, not really, because we were actually like together and boyfriend and girlfriend, which I get what Katie's saying. But she says, yes, I understand that he does that thing with girls where he's just like giving them just a little to keep them hooked. Ariana says she understands why Joe thought she was his girlfriend because he brought her around his family and stuff. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So Clearly, there was some stringing along happening. Schwartz says he felt or feels he kept a clear line of communication. So he does not feel guilty and says once cameras went up, it had fizzled, but it was passionate in the start. Okay, again, it fizzled for Schwartz. I don't think that means it fizzled for Joe. And again, I also don't feel bad for Joe, by the way. She was on Rachel's podcast, and you will hear about that in my Bravo weekly news this week. So I went over some of the key points and some of the things that Joe said. But overall, let's just say Joe is not this like innocent little victim. And I never thought that. And I actually think she's a lot like Raquel. She loves to play victim. Oh, the big bad group of mean girls are making me upset and blah, blah, blah. And I also think she's a pick me. And she's like, oh, well, like, I'm friends with Sandoval and Schwartz and them because I'm like a cool girl that the guys like. And I'm not like crazy like their ex-girlfriends. And things will work out with me and Schwartz because I'm different. I'm not like her. That's why he wasn't happy because she was crazy. But guess what? It's not her. It's him. And he's going to treat you the exact same way. And he did. And I'm sorry Joe had to learn the hard way, but sometimes you got to learn the hard way. Okay. I mean, based on what she said on Rachel's podcast, though, she still hasn't learned because she's still kind of like more fixated on blaming the girls and talking about the girls than she is about Schwartz, to be honest. So yeah, there's that. Okay. So everyone, thank you for your patience, and my apologies again for missing last week. You are now all caught up on episodes 10 and 11 after show, and I will see you next week for episode 12. Until next time, bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me, and this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoy the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox, and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.